All right, welcome back to it. As I saw this big solar project in California basically go bankrupt, I was watching this yesterday. We'll have some information on that coming up. And you look at these hailstorms and tornadoes that destroy acres and acres of solar panels. You see the fact that these giant wind turbines turn sometimes out of. We have a power problem in America. Much of it's self inflicted because we have this delusional, not all of us, but some of us have this delusional idea that windmills and, rainbows and fairy tales are going to power our homes. It's not. And in fact, the demand on energy in America is only going to increase dramatically in the years to come. Much of that from AI demand on electricity. Bitcoin demands tremendous amounts of electricity. My next guest, Scott Angelle, is the longest serving director of the U.S. Bureau of Safety and Environmental Enforcement, founder of USA Energy Workers, and has served as Louisiana's lieutenant governor as well. He joins me now, and he says there's going to be a 35 to 50% spike in U.S. power demand in just the next 15 years. Scott, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you, Steve, and thank you for all the great work you've done now for several decades, both in front of the camera and behind the mic, delivering truth to American people on important issues. Just great to be a part, honored to be a part of your show this morning, sir.
Well, I appreciate that. Look, and we do try to tell the truth, and the truth is, windmills and solar panels, that might be great on your local family farm. It might be great on your house there in the subdivision. You look cool. Your friends think you're a good guy. Whatever. It's not going to power New York City or Cleveland or Salt Lake or any place else. You cannot scale solar power or turbines to power America. It's not going to work. We need natural gas. We need oil. We need coal. That's why the Chinese are building new coal-fired power plants, one or two a week, right?
Well, and it's exactly what you said in your opening comments. You talked about a self-inflicted situation here, and it absolutely has been a manufactured crisis. This is a manufactured, man-made crisis on the middle class of America by trying to make an energy transition, if you would, before those particular sources are ready. We would say that we need an energy addition, not a transition. Look, there's room at the table for all sources if you can compete. But what we've done in this country is we've kind of embraced for a period of time, maybe about for 3 or 4 years, we embraced this European model. Let's just go to everything renewables. And we saw what happened, right? We saw what happened with regards to energy prices. We saw how it drove inflation. About 40% of overall inflation, the experts tell us, Steve, is driven by energy inflation. And we kind of went through that, right? And so thank God that we're now at a point where we have an administration that understands that as so goes our access to affordable energy, not cheap energy, but affordable energy, so goes our economy. And,
Right.
and it's incredible. We've made a pivot. We've gone from energy defense to now energy offense in this country. We've gone from
It's
a
critical.
all of government war. We went from an all of government war on energy policy. I mean, this is where we were in this country. 6 months ago, we were in a situation where we had an all of government war on domestic energy policy. And now we've gone to 2025, all of government support for American energy. So, look, better days are ahead, no doubt. We got to, battle ourselves out of some stupid policy decisions, but certainly this administration is making that. As you know, the administration declared a national energy emergency to help
Which they
alleviate
should.
some of the
I mean,
permitting.
Scott, let me ask you this.
Absolutely.
I got to ask you this. We're behind. There's no question. But how can we catch up? We're behind. Look, as I pointed out, the Chinese, one example, the Indians are doing the same thing. New coal-fired power plants. The Chinese are building them 1 and 2 a week. They're not even putting them into production, Scott. That's what people should be aware of. They're putting them there and setting them aside for future reference. While we're bulldozing and destroying perfectly good coal-fired power plants, they're building new ones and just setting them there for future reference because they know the demand for power is coming. Can we catch up, and how do we do it? Do we need modular nuclear? Do we need more coal-fired power plants? Do we need LNG? How do we get there?
All of the above. And what we have to, I think it starts with understanding that the head coach of the country now gets the fact, right? The head coach, we have a change with head coach here in the country with a new occupant in the White House. And this guy gets the fact that we've had 6 recessions in this country from 1973 to 2019, and each one of them have been preceded by a spike in energy prices. Energy in a modern economy is not a luxury; it's a necessity. And so it starts with, I think, realizing that when we talk about how to catch up, it talks about a pivot. What is a pivot? The definition of a pivot is to change direction. Usually, when you've observed that there is a failed direction that's happened. And so that's the number one thing I would say with you, and we're starting to see that. We're seeing it 2 things. Number one, the national energy emergency. That declaration allows for permitting to be streamlined, to be able to get the grid restored and get projects moved. The other thing, Steve, that is absolutely incredible that I think is kind of flying below the radar, I want to share with your listeners, is the formation of the National Energy Dominance Council. Never before in the history of the country has there been an executive order that's put together so many powerful people from so many different groups that's come together to say, you know what, we are going to solve this problem. Again, that's by an executive order of the head coach saying, let's go make it happen. And so we're seeing it already. We're seeing with some of the permitting reforms that are happening. We're seeing it with the fact that in 2025, we're going to have an offshore lease sale where the previous president canceled offshore lease sales. So we're going back to recognizing that the Gulf of America is this incredible province that produces 1 out of every 6 barrels of oil in this country and has the second lowest carbon emissions on the planet. So again, when we say how do we catch up, it catches up, I think, with understanding and trying to permeate through the American people. And that's part of what I'm doing here this morning with you, so we can talk about the truth that we've got to have affordable energy, and it starts with the White House.
Well, Scott, you come back anytime. Scott Angelle. He's leading the fight on environment, energy, the economy, making things work for the American people. You come back anytime, Scott. I greatly appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Steve. You can visit us at usaenergyworkers.com. We exist for one reason and one reason only, to elevate and celebrate the American energy worker. We believe that our teachers deserve a lot of credit. If you can read, we think you ought to thank a teacher. If you can read at night in your warm or cool home, thank a teacher and a USA Energy worker. How about that?
How about that? Thank you.